Should you pull for FuFu's Wenjin? Let's talk about it. We are back once again on the Creator Experience server. Thanks to you to Hoyoverse for the early access to FuFu. Now you may notice that I've changed the setup that I've been using for Deadly Assault. We're getting to the point where I can get consistent 60k kills in Deadly Assault. If you don't know what that is, it's these bosses can actually die in Deadly Assault if you do enough damage to them, the threshold being 60,000. It takes a little bit of work and some effort, but you can definitely kill them even with the base units, so Zzzero, well, M0, right? M0 characters, with I am running M0, Yuzuen, and FuFu. So I just thought that because I'm getting to the point where I can kill, it would be kind of weird if I had like the screens like shut off, but the other setups, the other Wenjins are still fighting. So I thought showcasing them all on the same screen would just be a better view for you guys. But let me know in the comments down below, how do you feel about it? If it's too confusing, I'll keep trying out different setups. Maybe I'll just do 2 instead of 4. But I wanted to showcase like the full screen so you guys can get like the full effect. Because there is a stun meter in here and it does play a huge factor in the setup, I thought this would be a better showcase for you guys. Now, in terms of the Wenjins, you may notice I'm only using 3 and there are 2 of the Hellfire gears. The reason I'm using these 3 is because these are the main 3 you want to go for. If you're free to play, you're going with Steam Oven. If you have Hellfire gears, you may want to go with that option, or do you go with the signature? So that's the whole point here. I didn't find any of the other ones just to be a good enough option, so that's why. Now, for the reason I have 2 Hellfire gears, this 6 attack percentage or impact percentage. If you didn't know, FuFu has a stat requirement of 34,000 to maximize the critical damage buffs she provides to all allies in her Tiger Roar mode. Is that buff worth it? Or should you just ignore the buff and instead not go for the maximum buff effect and just go for more stun? That was the whole point of me doing both of the different discs. Now, from my testing, it really depends on the fight. If you're looking at the scores and you're tracking the score progression, you'll see that the attack percent is definitely keeping up in terms of damage. I believe it's the most damage at the time I'm talking here. However, you can see that it is significantly behind in terms of the stun meter, which is a huge factor if you're trying to get as many stuns within a certain time period. This is where it becomes kind of an issue, where if you can kill in 1 stun, the attack percent is by far the go-to. However, if you're killing in multiple stuns and you need that extra stun, that's where the attack percent tends to fall off. So it starts off strong and it tends to fall off the longer the fight goes on, because you're just falling behind in terms of the stun meter. That's really the major issue. You can kind of see here in the gameplay where if most of them are really close to the 4th stun, while the one that's running attack percentage is really far behind. Now, if you're wondering what I'm running on Steam Oven and the signature, if I didn't mention it, it's going to be impact percentage. So that's going to be pretty much the whole goal here. And the gear is going to be drastically different between each Wenjin. This character is probably one of the hardest characters to build optimally. So she has so many different builds. It's really hard to have her run the exact same build for each Wenjin. Mainly when you can factor in the signature, because the signature does provide the attack boost, which gives her a lot more leeway to build like critical rate, critical damage, and other stats. Now, here are the results. So the results are going to be first place is the signature. No surprise there. I killed in about 12 seconds left. I think I killed with 15, but it's kind of some weird thing where I think it counts the time it takes for you to run to the boss. So keep that in mind. Then we have second place being the free-to-play Steam Oven. Steam Oven barely beat out Hellfire Gears because it got an earlier stun. If you watch my stun comparison video, I think I have a link to it somewhere here. That video, it showed that in solo comparison, that the Steam Oven can keep up, if not beat out, the signature in terms of speed for stunning, and Hellfire Gears is no different. So because Steam Oven is such a good has such a good ability to stun. That last stun was the deal breaker to get that early lead. Third place, we have the Hellfire Gears. It did more damage. If you're looking at it at each what was that? At each section, you'll notice that the Hellfire Gears is ahead of the Steam Oven, but because it got the later stun, it did not get the kill quicker. So to keep in mind, Hellfire Gears was ahead most of the time, but that last stun was the deal breaker. And then in the last place, we have the attack percentage. It didn't get the final stun, which kind of hurt it. It was ahead of everything that was not the signature, but that last stun was a deal breaker and caused it to not get the kill. However, if you're looking at the performance points, it did get 5,000, so congrats to that. The performance points don't matter too much here because it's really RNG related in this fight, so don't think about it too much. Now we're gonna go to the builds here. So here's the first build, which will be the signature build. And in this build, you can really go a lot more critical rate and critical damage focus. I only really go for a couple of pieces for attack percentage. I think I was in the 3.5k range here. So I had a lot of leeway where I could have dropped attack percentage for more critical rate, critical damage, but it's not that big of a deal. Next up, we're gonna have the Hellfire Gears setup that is running, I believe, attack percentage. Yes, attack percentage. So this build here, it had a lot of attack, 35. I do have an extra 100, but I just couldn't really find much leeway with disk drives and stuff like that. Next up, we have the Hellfire Gears running Impact, and you notice it's running 3,200. So I'm missing out on, I believe, 10% critical damage with that build. So keep that in mind. Every build is running 50% critical rate. So, and then we have the worst build, which will be the Steam Oven free-to-play build with a 3k attack, meaning that I'm missing out on 20% critical damage, which kind of sucks. But as you can see, that early stun was such a big leap in damage that it didn't really factor in too much. Now we have kind of a jacked out Yizhuan. I rolled a lot for her disc, so it's not like perfect rolls or anything, but they're like 4, 5 on average. I think 4 to 5 on average. I think this one here is 3. They're not perfect, but they're pretty decent. Then we have Asher Yao. She had the Mindscape for her because I had Mindscaped her for a different video, so I couldn't really take that away, but I've already killed this without the Mindscape. I don't need the Mindscape, but just showcasing it. And I'm running the game ball because I wanted the additional critical rate. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on my next video. Later.